Good day, everyone. Welcome to another session of our lecture. Here we'll be taking a look at the administrative measures the government has put in place to manage and regulate Chinese OFDIs. For the sake of clarity, we will begin by examining the background of the measures for the management of Chinese enterprises' foreign investment. Then we'll proceed to look at the goals to get an understanding of the why behind the measures. Third, we'll discuss what the main content of these measures entail, how they will be implemented. Lastly, we'll conclude this session by looking at areas of improvement to better make these measures effective and efficient. In the past 4 decades, China's OFDI has been a long-running development. The initial scale of investment and scope was small. Now, investment is more widely distributed and more Chinese enterprises are investing abroad. In order to regulate the overseas investment activities of Chinese enterprises, the Ministry of Commerce, the National Development and Reform Commission, and other departments have formulated the corresponding management measures. On April 2014, the National Development and Reform Commission issued measures for the administration of approval and filing of overseas investment projects, hereinafter referred to as Decree Number 9. This changed the way that overseas investment was managed, that is, from item-by-item approval to record-based approval. This played an important role in promoting and regulating the development of overseas investment. After more than 3 years since the 9th order was implemented, overseas investment has developed rapidly, and China has become one of the leading foreign investment countries. However, the development of overseas investment presents some new problems, and enterprises have also put forward some new demands, such as how to reduce the cost of institutional transactions and further facilitate the enterprise overseas investments. This brought about a reform of the management system to match specific needs. In order to further promote and standardize overseas investment and improve the level of facilitation of overseas investment, on December 26, 2017, the National Development and Reform Commission officially promulgated the measures for the administration of overseas investment of enterprises, which came into effect on March 1, 2018. As the basic system of overseas investment management, the new approach is committed to achieving the following 4 objectives. 1. Strengthen the macro guidance on overseas investment, optimize comprehensive services for overseas investment, and provide a good environment for enterprises to invest abroad. 2. Improve the supervision of overseas investment. 3. Promotes the sustained and healthy development of overseas investment. 4. Safeguard China's national interest and national security. The measures for the administration of Chinese enterprises' foreign investment contain 6 chapters, which contains a total of 66 provisions. Chapter 1, General. Chapter 2, Guidance and Services for Overseas Investments. 3, Approval and Filing of Overseas Investment Projects. 4, Overseas Investment Supervision. 5, Legal Liability. 6, Supplementary Provision. The first chapter mainly expands on investment activities, stipulates the rights and obligations of investment subjects, and explains that the National Development and Reform Commission has established a network system for overseas investment management and services. The second chapter stipulates that investment subjects may consult the National Development and Reform Commission on relevant investment policies and information, and that the National Development and Reform Commission is obliged to publish data related to overseas investment, provide information services, and macro guidance to investment subjects. Chapter 3 mainly introduces the approval and filing of overseas investment management projects. Chapter 4 mainly introduces how the regulatory authorities conduct comprehensive supervision of the investment subject after the fact and how to deal with related illegal acts. Chapter 5 mainly regulates the behavior of the investment subject and the staff of the National Development and Reform Commission, and stipulates which acts constitute legal or illegal methods. Chapter 6 complements and provides other necessary information. However, I would like to give a detailed description of the third chapter. the approval and filing of overseas investment projects. The approval and filing of overseas investment projects mainly introduce the scope of approval and filing of foreign investment projects by Chinese enterprises. The scope of management approval concerns sensitive projects carried out by investment entities directly or through the foreign enterprises under their control. The approval authority is the National Development and Reform Commission. The items called sensitive categories addressed under these measures include projects involving sensitive countries and regions, projects involving sensitive industries. Sensitive countries and regions addressed under these measures include countries and regions that have not established diplomatic relations with China. 2. Countries and regions where war or civil disorder has occurred. 3. The countries and regions in which enterprises need to restrict their investment in accordance with international treaties, agreements, etc., concluded or participated in by China. Other sensitive countries and regions. To give you more context about these sensitive variables, there are some industries under this category, such as the development, production, and maintenance of weapons and equipment, the arms industry, cross-border water resources, development and utilization, news media, non-sensitive items only need to be filed. Compared with the previous other 9, the regulations on the management of enterprises' foreign investments have been mainly improved in the following 4 areas: facilitating reform, investment reform, service reform, regulatory improvements. Facilitating reform. The new approach highlights the decentralization of government and introduces 3 real reforms to further facilitate overseas investment by enterprises. First, the project information reporting system should be abolished. The new measures eliminate the requirement that investment subjects should deliver project information reports to the National Development and Reform Commission before carrying out substantive work abroad in overseas acquisitions or bidding projects with a Chinese investment of 300 million or more. Furthermore, the pre-management link should be simplified, thereby reducing the institutional transaction cost. Second, cancel the local first instance transfer link. The new method cancels the local preliminary examination and transfer link. Belongs to the National Development and Reform Commission once the scope of the record of the project is approved. Local enterprises through the network system can directly link the National Development and Reform Commission to submit the relevant application materials so that enterprises can do a good job with less running errors. Third, relax the latest time requirements for investment subjects to fulfill their approval and filing procedures. The new method relaxes the latest time requirement for the investment subjects to fulfill the approval and filing procedures from before the signing or before the agreement enters into force to the period before implementation. For projects falling within the scope of approval and record management, the investment subjects shall obtain the project approval documents or the record notice before the project is implemented. This helps companies to arrange the pace of transactions more calmly. Investment reform. The new approach highlights a combination of management, the introduction of 3 real reforms, and the further standardization of overseas investment of enterprises. First, complement the management shortboard, domestic enterprises, and natural persons through the control of foreign enterprises carrying out overseas investments. In recent years, with the increased internationalization of domestic enterprises and a more diverse way of overseas investments, some overseas investment activities are outside the existing management boundaries, and there are certain risks. In accordance with the management principles, which places substance over form, the new approach incorporates overseas investments made by domestic enterprises and natural persons through foreign enterprises under their control in the regulatory framework. It should be noted that inclusion in the regulatory framework does not imply that they are all included in the scope of approval and filing management. For overseas investment projects carried out entirely by the investment subject through foreign enterprises under its control, which do not involve the investment subject directly investing in assets, rights, and interests, or providing financing and guarantee. The new approach adopts the management idea of difference in pre-management and full coverage after the event, which not only complements the short board, but which is also more accurate. Approved management of sensitive types of projects. For non-sensitive projects in which the Chinese side invests 300 million or more, the investment subject shall inform the National Development and Reform Commission of the relevant information without filing, while Chinese investments amounting to less than 300 million do not need to file or submit a report. Overseas investments carried out by domestic natural persons through foreign enterprises under their control shall be carried out by reference. Second, innovative regulatory tools to improve collaborative supervision and full supervision. In view of the weak links in the supervision of overseas investment, the new method proposes a coordinated supervision mechanism to supervise and inspect overseas investments through online monitoring, interview and inquiry, spot checks, and verification. At the same time, the new approach introduces systems such as project completion reports, major adverse situation reports, inquiries and reports on major matters, and improves the supervision of overseas investments so as to better safeguard national interests and national security. Third, improve disciplinary measures and establish a record of legal and illegal investments abroad. The new measures specify disciplinary measures and strengthen disciplinary measures for illegal violations, such as malicious spin-off, false declaration, obtaining approval documents, or filing notices by improper means, unauthorized implementation of projects, failure to make changes in accordance with regulations, failure to report unfair competition, threat or damage to national interests and national security, and illegal provision of financing. At the same time, the new measures propose to establish a record of legal and illegal investments abroad and implement joint disciplinary measures. Service reform. The new approach highlights the optimization of services, the introduction of two real reforms to further serve enterprises' overseas investments. One is to enrich the service content. The new approach proposes that investment subjects can consult policies and information, reflect situations and problems, and make suggestions and recommendations. At the same time, it is clear that the National Development and Reform Commission will carry out the main task of publishing information on overseas investments, establishing investment cooperation mechanisms, and promoting the protection of overseas interests, while putting some practical investment promotion and service guarantee work into the institutional track. For example, the National Development and Reform Commission recently released the China Foreign Investment Report, which proactively announced the development achievements, management system, and policy orientation of China's overseas investments, so as to facilitate a more comprehensive understanding of China's foreign investment. For example, in recent years, the National Development and Reform Commission has established bilateral and third-party investment cooperation mechanisms with many countries around the world to promote the countries concerned to provide a fair environment for Chinese enterprises and pave the way for Chinese enterprises to go global. Second, the implementation of online processing. The new approach proposes the establishment of an overseas investment management and service network system, the network system. The National Development and Reform Commission is now promoting the construction of the network system on the basis of the original filing system. Following the implementation of the new measures, the vast majority of overseas investment management links, such as micro-guidance, information services, approval and filing, full supervision, joint discipline, etc., will be carried out through the network system, thereby improving management efficiency and service quality. Managing services and promoting management by service is an important feature of the new approach. For example, the new approach suggests that the National Development and Reform Commission may issue risk warnings to investment entities or stakeholders for reference by investment entities or stakeholders. Risk alerts are not administratively enforced, but can be used as both an information service and a management tool. Compared with individual enterprises, The government has certain information advantages in the overall operation of overseas investment, overseas economy, and security risk status. According to different circumstances, the National Development and Reform Commission may alert the investment subject to the foreign economic and security risk situation as an information service for the investments. Subject decision-making reference, so that enterprises reduce stepping on the bind situation or to the investment subject or stakeholders to prompt a specific field, specific types of overseas investment activities. Risk situation as a policy signal to guide the market subject expectation and behavior. And finally, to promote the sustained and healthy development of overseas investments. Regulatory improvement. The vitality of the system lies in its implementation. In order to implement the new approach, the National Development and Reform Commission has recently focused on 3 tasks. First, the release of new methods and clear supporting documents, including sensitive industry directories, relevant format text, and its list of attachments. The second is to build a network system proposed by the new method. Third, strengthen guidance, training, and supervision. Improve the level of overseas investment services and regulatory capacity of the National Development and Reform System. Jointly put the new measures in place to better promote enterprises to go out to a stable future. Another bright spot of the new approach is the addition of the regulatory section on offshore investment, which changes the original approved or prepared situation. For investment projects that have been approved or filed, supervision and inspection shall be carried out by way of online monitoring, interviewing correspondence, spot checks, and verifications. Thank you very much.